this is Stephanie, and this is Talk Tales and Trivia, the show where I talk about society, culture, pop culture, and I put in a little trivia too so that you can stump your family and friends. It is so much fun. If you are a new listener here at Talk Tales and Trivia, I want to welcome you and thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. So now everybody, gather round, sit down, listen, and enjoy this episode on coffee, my favorite drink of all time. Well, did you know the powers of a man's mind are directly proportioned to the quantity of coffee he drinks? That's a quote from Sir James Mackintosh. As in the New Yorker magazine in 2019, it says, "We're just crazy, passionate nerds for our coffee." And we are. The U.S. Coffee Championships showcase the competitive side of appreciation for coffee. At the Coffee Champs qualifying round in Nashville in 2019, professionals demonstrate their ability to detect notes of every kind. Cupping, the gold standard for tasting, is practiced by hunching over a series of different samples with a spoon that is shaped like a bowl and slurping intently. The tasters are at tables tasting the various flavors of coffee, and as you can imagine, analyzing the flavor profile and body of a brew is a nuanced task. The number of aromatic compounds presented in roasted coffee is greater than that of wine. Younger coffee tasters say confidently that if you are willing to spend somewhere around $4 to $5 on a cup of coffee a day, you may think you are drinking the best coffee in the world. Really? Is that true? I wonder. Some of the younger coffee connoisseurs, as they are called, say that they don't understand why coffee can't be put on the same pedestal as wine tasters. But first, let's find out what exactly is a coffee connoisseur. Well, a coffee connoisseur is someone who knows everything about coffee. Well, we could all be coffee connoisseurs, but are you really? Well, let's find out. Let's look at what it takes. You know the different roasts. You know the different types of beans and where they come from. You know the various flavor profiles and beans of those flavor profiles. And you know all the specialty coffee drinks that exist. If you are a coffee connoisseur, you're also on top of every new coffee trend as it comes your way. If you are a coffee connoisseur, you already know the beans, flavors, and brew method you prefer. What's the point? Well, the point is that until you actually become a coffee connoisseur, the cup you think you might love might not even be cutting it close. Coffee connoisseurs have sampled it all. They know what they like, and they also know how to make what it is they like. And so it is. There is a short film about the coffee craze. I will have it in the show notes. According to the 1961 short film, This is Coffee, coffee begins in the warm tropical sun and has many different ways of making it. This stylish film noir, This is Coffee, is by the Coffee Brewing Institute and is a guide to brewing the perfect cup of coffee. The key to successful coffee? Well, care, and more care. The opening of the 13-minute film sets a menacing mood. Well, when the alarm goes off, a tired woman wakes, trudges downstairs, and goes through the motions of brewing a pot of coffee. Her coffee is weak and unappetizing. She is unsuccessful. But with a little care, she can do so much better. And she knows it. What makes the perfect cup of coffee? Well, in this film, it takes coffee, water, and care. The film mentions different coffees from around the world. A dream of Paris expressed in the flavor of what is called café au lait, which is made with half coffee and half milk. And in Venice, Italy, coffee has a unique recipe all its own. Coffee made with milk as well as whipped cream and a touch of brandied orange peel for a unique flavor. And in Vienna, Austria, always they make their coffee with spices and whipped cream. Turkish coffee is so strong with a smell of foam hiding the rich, sweet brew. And dark and zesty Latin coffee is served black with plenty of sugar. When you drink your morning cup of coffee with its welcoming aroma and smooth taste, do you think about what's in your cup and where it came from? Coffee is part of the botanical family. There are some 25 species of coffee plants, but only 2, Arabica and Robusta, which provide almost all the coffee we drink. And so it is, according to the short film, This is Coffee, there are 3 steps to great coffee. To make that beautiful cup, you must start out with the cleanest coffee pot using soap and water, with no remembrance of the coffee that came before. Then the fresh water is up next. And lastly, the great coffee that is measured perfectly. That's it. That's what it takes, according to the film, This is Coffee. But so much more goes into making coffee, and we know it. Coffee is supported by a $200+ billion global industry. Growing, trading, roasting, and brewing all go into that one indulgent coffee that we enjoy so much. But did you know that in that glorious cup of coffee, there is a lot of care that goes into it? This is done by stages in the coffee growing ecosystem and is governed by the International Coffee Organization, or rather, the ICO. The company brands that are most popular to consumers include Nestle, Keurig, and Starbucks, just to name a few. And as of 2017, global retail sales has reached $83 billion. But is it true that the largest global sales are in the United States and Brazil? Yes, it is. And did you know that coffee is the 4th most consumed beverage in the world? You might also be surprised to know that 2.3 million cups of coffee are being consumed globally every minute. That's a lot of coffee. And so it is. It takes growing, picking, processing, and milling to make your coffee come to life. It is really the grinding, which is roasted beans that are ground up in order to better extract their flavors, either by machine or by hand. The preferred way depends on the darkness of the roast and the brewing method. Then there is the brewing where water is added to the coffee grounds in a variety of methods. Some involve water being passed or pressured through the grounds, like espresso, while others mix the water and grounds. Think of French press and Turkish coffee. Then lastly, you are ready to drink that hot, delicious beverage. Liquid coffee is ready to be enjoyed, and it is the best. And did you know one average cup of coffee takes 70 roasted beans to make? Well, the National Coffee Association, or the NCA, says on their website that most roasters have specialized names for their favored roasts, and there is very little industry standardization. This can cause some confusion when you're buying coffee, but in general, roasts fall into one of 4 color categories. I'm sure you know this: light, medium, medium dark, and dark. But many consumers assume that the strong, rich flavor of darker roasts indicate a higher level of caffeine. But the truth is that light roasts actually have a slightly higher concentration of caffeine. Now, I didn't know that. The perfect roast is a personal choice that is sometimes influenced by national preferences or geographic locations. Within the 4 color categories, you are likely to find common roasts, and one of them that you will just love. Well, the light roasts are light brown in color. This roast is generally preferred for milder coffee variations. There will be no oil on the surface of these beans because they are not roasted long enough for the oils to break through to the surface. Well, then there's a medium roast. This roast is medium brown in color with a stronger flavor and a non-oily surface. It's often referred to as the American roast because it is generally preferred in the United States. Medium dark roasts are a rich, dark color. This roast has some oil on the surface and with a slightly bitter aftertaste. I love that one. But the dark roasts, well, this is really the great one for me. This roast produces shiny black beans with an oily surface and a pronounced bitterness. The darker the roast, the less acidity will be found in the coffee beverage. Dark roast coffees run from slightly dark to charred, and the names are often used interchangeably. Well, the dark roasts include espresso, Italian, and French coffees that we love so much. And we now can understand coffee made in different ways and our love for coffees and our own personal tastes. Well, they include, but are not limited to, flavored coffees, lattes with steamed milk, very strong espresso, and for the keto diet lover, well, there is coffee with butter or MCT oil in it. And let's not forget the spices, chocolate, cinnamon, vanilla, and some whipped cream. It's all so wonderful. So after all this about coffee, what is your favorite way of making coffee? However you like your coffee, morning, noon, or night, is wonderful for you. It's all so delicious. If you've enjoyed this episode on coffee, I would love to hear from you. My email address is talktalesandtrivia@gmail.com. Go to talktalesandtrivia.com to get to all my episodes, my show notes, and there's a little bio on me if you're wondering what I'm all about. If you enjoyed Talk Tales and Trivia, you may enjoy Growing Uncomfortable. Go to growinguncomfortable.com to get to all my episodes, my show notes, and that bio on me is there if you're wondering what I'm all about. You can subscribe or follow Talk Tales and Trivia and Growing Uncomfortable. It gives you the notifications of when new episodes come out. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next time on Talk Tales and Trivia. Okay, bye-bye.